Astrology is a language of love of the universe. It can tell you about your soul purpose and so many other aspects of your life. If you're interested in learning everything about astrology, then stay tuned for this episode with me and Natalie Holbrook. Hello and welcome to Charmed Life. Welcome to my channel. I am your host here. My name is Tricia Carr, and this channel is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. It is the video companion to my Charmed Life podcast with me, Tricia Carr. So this is going to be an excerpt from one of my full-length podcasts. It is with the intuitive astrologer, Natalie Holbrook. If you want to hear our whole conversation, which blew my socks off, then do check the description so that you can find the podcast and follow it and check out other episodes that have already been published and some ones that are upcoming. And with that, I'd also like to invite you to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and click the little bell here right on this channel so that you can get notifications when I post more of these videos, as well as other ones where I'm teaching and sharing on various topics on my own. But this is a conversation episode with the amazing Natalie Holbrook. So I do hope you enjoy. You get your pen out because you might learn something about your element, your archetype, your modality, all of these wonderful different tools that are in astrology that tell us about our soul purpose. So enjoy. Well, Natalie, I'm so excited to, get into it all. You are an intuitive astrologer, and I love that. I love that you are, feeling your way through the information. And I mean, your story that I've read about is that, astrology came to you intuitively. It hit you in the face. So I'm just so excited to learn all about your journey, your work. And so let us get into it, if you shall.
Hi, yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I love telling people this story because whenever I talk about how astrology came to me, it's this reminder that magic is real and that things are going to happen when we least expect them, and we never know what the heck is going to happen. So, I was raised very religious. I was actually raised Mormon. And so I always had this connection to God or connection to source, spirit, whatever you want to call it. To me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And I actually went to BYU, the Mormon religious college, and got kicked out for being a party girl and for doing pranks and being a classic 18-year-old. And ever since then, I kind of had this like existential crisis of who am I? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to do here? And so I feel like since then, since I was like 18 years old, I was always on this path of seeking, and I would go to psychics, I would go party, I would do anything to feel like this is where I fit in and this is where I am doing something of importance. And I lived in Las Vegas for a while. I was working in nightlife. I was working as a music journalist and living this kind of like glamorous VIP behind the scenes life where I was like, oh, I get to be backstage with Diplo and Cascade and interview them and all of that. But there was something so deep within me that felt so unfulfilled. And I started to get really sick. I had a lot of gut issues. And it got to the point that I just couldn't live like that anymore. I was constantly stressed out. I was drinking. I didn't know how to take care of myself. And I think that whenever we have this spiritual awakening, a lot of times it happens through our physical body. It's like we have our emotional bodies, our karmic bodies, and then all of a sudden it manifests in the physical. And so after that, I moved home to my parents' house in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and started going to acupuncture. And it was after that I had this awakening that was like, there's something deeper for me to do, but first I have to align my health. And I became obsessed with nutrition and health. And I was like, I'm going to go back to school for this. And I did. I moved to LA, went back to school, started studying to go get a master's in nutrition. And again, though, I felt this deep pang of loneliness and of like, is this the right thing for me? And of course, to me, I was like, yes, it is the right thing. Like I'm on this path that feels integrous and I feel like I'm going to be helping people, but something still was missing. And I remember I was walking on the beach one day in Santa Monica and I was listening to a podcast and someone was talking about the energy of Pisces, which I have my Jupiter in, and so do you, actually.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm a terrible astrologer, so I've had my chart read many times, but I don't remember any of it.
I'm here to make you remember things, okay?
That's awesome. I love it. And yeah,
Yeah.
and when I read this part of your story, I was like, that feels like me. So anyway,
Yes.
just want to
Oh my gosh.
validate that.
Because you have the exact same placement. So I'm really excited for us to talk about this. Yeah.
Cool.
Where it feels like you know that there's something bigger and deeper out there, but there's this sense of like, how do I get there? Or it's kind of from another world where you feel kind of alone as a human being, but you know that you're here for something bigger, or you're, this feeling of oneness that you're constantly in search of. And so when I heard this on this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder where I have Pisces. I wonder what this is. And I'm a Taurus sun, and that's all that I knew at the time. And so I was like, okay, let me go find a teacher. And I found a teacher who lived in Costa Mesa. So you know where that is, like 2 hours south of LA, basically. And I would drive there every other week to go see her and meet for hours. And within 3 months, I just kind of knew it all. Like it was like it just came. And I always like to say it was like a remembrance, because it was something that felt so near and dear to my heart of, this is the language that I speak. And I started to give readings to my friends. And I was working as a nutritionist at the time, and I started to incorporate this into my nutrition clients as well. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, and I was still, doing this master's program, and something told me, drop out of this master's program actually before COVID hit and focus on something else. And I didn't know what that something else was. But then lo and behold, I started getting booked out for astrology readings. And that was what that was. And so here we are today. And now it's one of my greatest passions to share it and to teach people how to learn, what is their soul's, one of their many purposes, because we have many purposes in this lifetime, but to just make you comfortable with, this is who I am. This is what my needs are. This is what lights me up. And this is the path that I'm supposed to be on.
Hi there, I'm really excited to invite you to my brand new subscription portal. It is called Modern Mystic Life Coaching. Extremely high value, extremely affordable, and so very easy. I have partnered with Hey Daily, who is a company who helps me to make it so easy for you. No logins. It is like having a spiritual mentor right in your pocket. I will be delivering to you by your text messenger multimedia content. That means video, audio, and text, and it's easy to keep track of them. And I will be texting you on a semi-daily basis, so it's not too much texting, but at the same time giving you enough content that you can utilize it every day. Inspirations, contemplations, activations, energy updates, all as Spirit moves us. Now it's only $11.11 a month, $11.11, but I have a special coupon for you at $555. That coupon code is in the caption, and I want you to go ahead and go to the link in bio to read all about it. I'm excited to co-create with you, create this resonant container, so check it out. Thanks for listening. I love you. Mwah. How do you advise someone who's listening right now to start to really understand their chart or themselves through astrology a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. I would say for sure the moon is one of the most important things, because the moon is your core needs, it's your emotions, it's why you are the way you are, it's why you think the way you do, it's where you go when you're stressed out, and it's like what you need to feel safe and to feel secure. And so every single moon sign has kind of a different, remedy, so to say, that it could have in order to feel okay. Like for me, for example, I'm a Gemini moon. And Gemini is a teacher, Gemini is the eternal student, and Gemini can be a little crazy at times, because it's like there's so, the archetype of it is that it could be two-faced, or it could be multi-personalities, because it just has this ability to be like, I'm going to shapeshift. One day I'm this, one day I feel this. Every 30 minutes I change, And so for me, learning that gave me so much peace of mind, because my whole life I was like, why can't I just focus on one thing? Or why can't I just do this one job or whatever? Why do I always have to have so many passions? I used to have people be like, I can never keep up with you. And I would kind of get offended by that, almost of like, well, why? Like it just made me feel almost guilty a little bit. And then when I learned this, it was like, no, I'm actually supposed to have all of these different passions and be so multidimensional that now I can embrace it as one of my greatest skills and superpowers. So when you learn your moon, you can learn your heroic and heroine patterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's how you feel inside. It's your emotion. It governs emotions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm Capricorn moon, and I sat with that for a while, and just kind of understanding that I'm Capricorn moon made me feel so wonderful, so grounded, because I'm Pisces and I'm, you know what I mean? I feel like, so I really And I love the earth element. So finding out and really embracing my cap moon, it just
Mhm.
it in a with different adjectives, but just like you, it made me feel so comfortable. And I love the strength of earth. And that's what I think. Sometimes we think of earth as rigid, you know what I mean, and boring and heavy and dense. But no, earth is strong. Earth is like the womb of the mother, you know, and it ink. And that's the thing.
Yes.
It's not slow. It takes time to gestate, but then the momentum is like giving birth. That's what the earth element will do. So I think it's really beautiful.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that also is like one of the greatest ways is get to know your elements, get to know what is the element of your moon, what is the element of your sun, what, if you were to look up your planetary, outline and kind of grid, where do you have the most energy? Where are you lacking some energy? And look at, because I have a lot of earth too, and looking at that of like, can I sometimes fall into a depression? Or do I have to be really patient and work on being okay with things going slow and not comparing myself to anyone else that's on this fast track? It's like, no, my path is long and slow and steady, and that's okay. But then there's other pieces that are very fun and fiery and airy. So you get to know your chart in that way and look at, okay, well, in what way do I do love? In what way do I make money? In what way do I need rest? And then we can see all of that through the different elements.
The message that I got as a kid is that Pisces are too sensitive and they're not flighty, actually watery and waffly and blah, and all that. So that was the shadow that I heard about my sign and,
Yeah,
too sensitive, which is just like the worst insult to to say to
totally.
anyone. The water element isn't too sensitive. It's perfectly sensitive. I mean,
Yeah.
the ocean can't be too sensitive, can it?
Exactly. I just got chills when you said that. No, totally. And with water, water is the mystic. Water is the
Mhm.
alchemist. It is the ones that say, I feel this, and so I'm going to do something about it, whether that's creating something, whether that it's that water triggering you personally to have some type of release. Like maybe you do need to cry, or maybe there's
Mhm.
something that needs to be healed within, or maybe you get so, sensitive to it that it creates a reaction that you say, I have to change something, or I have
Mhm.
to make, some type of move in my life. And that is a superpower because sensitivity is
Mhm.
what guides us.
Yes. I keep laughing because you keep saying all the things that I say. Magic is real, sensitivity is a superpower, and I don't wanna sidetrack too much. So yeah, so are the sun signs like your personality? It's kinda like your being, right? And do you think does it take, like, some time to kinda understand that in a more I don't know, I wonder if it's not until past the first Saturn return that you kind of are like, "Oh, I get it, and I get the full at least 1 round of what this is." Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we grow into our charts. So it's like you
Mhm.
have your chart. We're always going to be like, oh, this piece doesn't really resonate with me yet. And then our Saturn return hits, and you're like, ooh, I see that now. And
Yeah.
especially then our second Saturn return, when we're 58 to 60, then we're like, oh, yes, these things have really come into fruition. But I even personally, being a Taurus sun, when I was younger and I would read the horoscopes, I'd be like, I don't really resonate with this. Like, I didn't resonate with I would always read they're materialistic and they're
Mhm.
really stubborn. And of course, I'm like, I'm not stubborn, which is like what a stubborn person would say, right?
Yeah.
And but I was a little bit lazy when I was younger just because my mom like did everything for me. So it was kind of like you look at it as these situations of maybe at the time you weren't choosing that, or I wasn't choosing to be lazy, but my mom was obsessed with cleaning. And so I didn't have to. So it made me lazy, you know?
Mm,
And so it's
mhm.
like there's always the situations where I had to learn, how do I not be lazy later in life? When I went off to college and I was like, I don't know how the heck to do laundry. And other
Mhm.
people were like, what? And I'm like, it's not because I'm lazy. I just didn't learn.
Yeah.
So, and with earth signs too, especially Taurus and Capricorn, there is this slowness to it where it's like sometimes things come later in your life. Virgo is not as much that because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, which is the sign of thought and mind. So Virgos are like, I want to learn everything right away so that I'm not slow like my other earth counterparts.
And they love to project too, right? They wanna plan and project. So in a sense, they're already living in the future, if I
Mhm.
think, right?
Yes, yes. They like to make sure that there's, a structure, that they're not going to just be left behind.
I love Virgos. I have a few in my life that I just like. They're just some, possibly because of the ones that you know, but I feel, I don't know, maybe you can tell me in my chart. Why do I have a tingliness about Virgos in general? I will admit that my favorite sister, which is well known in my family, and everyone understands that she's my favorite sister. So I'm not breaking any news to anyone. My favorite sister is a Virgo, and yeah, one day we don't talk a lot just for no reason. Uh, she called me out of the blue one day, or she texted me, "Hey, I need to talk to you sometime. Can you give me a call when you can?" And I text back, "Sure." And it was like middle of the day. By the next morning, she was like, "Can you call me?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And so I called her, and she's like, "In 8 months, I want to come and visit. Can I stay over one night?" I'm like, "Why did you need me to stop my life for that?" I would call 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah. Like, hey, can I come visit in a week? Yeah.
Yeah. No? Okay, I'll stay at a hotel.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, so in your chart, the reason why you love Virgos is because Virgo actually rules your second house. And the
Okay.
second house is the house of value. And it's also the house
Mm.
of self worth. So when Virgo falls into your second house, we would say that someone who has a Virgo sun, we could place their sun, just for a visual, if we were to imagine their sun was in your second house, that shines upon your self worth. So they actually help you to see and love your own self a little bit more.
I cry. That's why she's my favorite one. And she's all my sisters are older than me. I'm the youngest. But she used to hold me when I was a baby. She's 8 years older than me. And so when I was a baby, she just loved me so much. And she would she would rock me and she would sing, "You are so beautiful." And she kind of gets that kitty, when you're
Yeah,
holding a cat and you're like, "I might squeeze it to death."
yeah,
So she would sing, "You are so beautiful" to me when I was a baby. So yeah, she was giving me all this self-worth, and that was the song she sang to me. Wow, that's mind-blowing. Isn't that amazing?
yes. And also because that's what you admire in your own life. And like that's also how you make your money is when you're being of service. When you are being more Virgo, then you actually make money better. So this means that you need,
Planning?
yes, you need to plan. You
Wow.
also need to be in a good routine. Like Virgos love routines, right? And so if you are scattered and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing today? Then things are not going to be in flow. And so you have to actually bring in that sense of Virgo-ness into your life to best set the foundation for you to optimize your wealth and abundance overall.
How infectious is Natalie's energy? Oh my gosh, I gained so much from that session, and we have plans to collaborate some more. You might want to check out her podcast. It's called the Cosmic Earth Podcast. And she said to me that she's going to be starting a YouTube channel. So perhaps by the time you're watching this, she has already started that. So find Natalie. And I also want to invite you to follow me on Instagram at Tricia Carr Charm. And that is my handle there. I'm also on Twitter in a couple of different ways. And then, of course, here, like, subscribe, share, comment, and click the little bell so you get notifications for when I post more of these episodes. And the cornerstone of my work is, of course, the podcast Charmed Life with Tricia Carr. And then if you go to my website, you'll find my offerings there, including my empathic channeling sessions. These are my one-on-one sessions where I channel guidance from your higher self guides, talk about your spiritual lineage, and then we also do spiritual counseling and education, and my signature hypno healing and quantum resonance healing. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Ooh, I guess I should also remind you that I have animal telepathy and healing sessions as well. So go check that out on my website, triciacarcharm.com. Now, other than that, I just want to love on you, tell you thank you so much for being here. Thank you for seeking your purpose, who you really are, because that is a gift to all of us. Thank you for shining your light on our beautiful world. And thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.